FNAF's Funtime animatronics aren't always considered the scariest. They're meant to gain the trust of kids so that they can later turn on them. So their design is pretty friendly at first glance. But you know this community, this wasn't good enough. So they went and made their own fan versions of your favorite FNAF characters. And while we covered Freddy Fazbear before, we didn't get to cover our favorite Bachelor #1, Funtime Freddy! So that's what we're exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Connor Monroe and this is the top 10 scary FNAF alternate fan versions of Funtime Freddy. Let's do it. In at 10, Steampunk Funtime Freddy. No doubt inspired by the steampunk event for FNAF AR, at least I think, Steampunk Freddy is one of the tamer variants on this list. And while just changing the character to be steel and gold may do the trick, the different interpretations are what make this version scary enough for this list. Particularly the Steampunk Titan Funtime Freddy created by Hero Golem on DeviantArt. This thing looks like a beast and would honestly make me defecate in my pants, even if they aren't golden or instead purple. I have no doubt that this thing would crush me in a dark alley. I'm too scared to say that this thing isn't steampunk because there's no copper or something like that, because I feel like if I do they're going to come out of my screen and snap my neck. And this is only the first one, just wait until you see the others. This list is gonna be like freaking wild, dude, so stick around. Speaking of sticking around, why don't you do us both a favor and hit that like button? It really helps us out and helps the channel grow. It also makes us do more FNAF, because we all know how that Minecraft video went. And at 9, Withered Funtime Freddy. Honestly, there were so many different versions of Withered Funtime Freddy that they don't really share a general theme, aside from a load of exposed endoskeleton and wires sticking out every which way. However, no matter the version, Withered Funtime Freddy always seems to hold on to Bonbon. Sometimes Bonbon is missing some limbs, sometimes it's just a head, sometimes it's dangling from a couple of wires, but Bonbon never leaves Funtime Freddy's side. It's like they're synonymous with one another, like they have to be together, like Eddie Brock and Venom. It's seemingly a symbiotic relationship. I just still don't understand how Bonbon operates. Like, does it have its own power supply? Because like it can be removed and changed out for a hand, so are the connections magnetic and then that's how the wires attach inside of the arm? I don't know, but that might be one of the creepier questions, honestly. And at 8, Scrap Funtime Freddy. Before you get mad at me because Scrap Funtime Freddy already exists, don't. Because while yes, Funtime Freddy is present in Molten Freddy also contains Ballora and Funtime Foxy. Whereas these versions of Scrap Funtime Freddy focus solely on Funtime Freddy, and not the rest of Ennard. Molten Freddy is just a reskinned Ennard without Baby. Plus, these versions of Scrap Funtime Freddy are absolutely nuts. I don't know the lore behind these characters and how they ended up reassembling themselves or why they had to do it in the first place, like maybe they got kicked out of Ennard instead of Baby for whatever reason, but damn, these are creepy as hell. The character has basically reassembled their body to look like the original, except with a new flair. You know what they say, variety is the spice of life, so why not throw a little demon into your already creepy exoskeleton? And as I'm sure you're able to gather from these images, it's pretty terrifying to say the least. And at 7, Draw Kill Funtime Freddy. The Draw Kill versions of the animatronics were suggested to me in a previous video by multiple people, and I made sure to include it on my scariest Bonnie versions list. However, the Funtime Freddy version, while unsettling, is not nearly as off-putting as the Bonnie version, probably because of how Funtime Freddy is designed. While the original Freddy was meant to be a mascot, Funtime Freddy is meant to be a killer animatronic designed to gain trust before capturing you, so making this scary definitely could have its challenges. However, GMX on DeviantArt used Draw Kill's art style to make a creepy Funtime Freddy with thighs that would break even Superman's neck. And while yes, Funtime Freddy is creepy, Bonbon is an even worse mess this time. They both have huge hands, which only makes it easier to crush me, and Freddy's thighs are so thick he's about to break the internet. I don't even know what to do at this point. And at 6, Shadow Funtime Freddy. Shadow Funtime Freddy is exactly what you'd expect, a pitch black or deep purple version of Funtime Freddy and Bonbon. However, there are a few that have a more withered appearance. While a few are just dark or purple, some have missing limbs and broken exosuits, with wires poking out of them giving them a more ghostly appearance. The Shadow animatronics are probably some of the most iconic ones, so I'm surprised I haven't looked up Shadow versions of the other animatronics that don't already have any to begin with. But Shadow Funtime Freddy is certainly a sight to behold. world, and probably one that I'm going to see as I try to fall asleep tonight into my drug-induced coma. Not actually though, don't worry. I was just trying to emphasize that it would be a hallucination. I feel like this is something that you'd see when you're like waking up after surgery. Like if I had to have my appendix out now after FNAF has invaded my life instead of 4 years ago, when I woke up and everything was blurry, I think this is what I would have seen. That would make me seem even more confused. I was already hoping that I would have superpowers when I woke up. It was a mess. Halfway through into number 5, Burnt Funtime Freddy. Speaking of hallucinations, what about Burnt Funtime Freddy? Funtime Freddy wasn't even created during the FNAF 3 fire, and since that's the case, there was no way for them to burn, since during the next fire in the series at the FNAF 6 pizzeria, they had turned into Molten Freddy. So this wouldn't be able to exist in the FNAF universe, but hey, that's just semantics. We don't care what's canon, at least during fan lists. There are people who legit hate this channel because I suggest things like Mike being crying child. There is a hate post on the FNAF fandom page about the top 10 reasons Michael is the crying child video. Like what, sorry for suggesting an idea. Anyway, getting off track, what I'm trying to say is that while this wouldn't make sense, that's the fun of it. Speculating and going to crazy lengths is what makes theorizing fun, and Burnt Funtime Freddy is a perfect example of that. It doesn't make sense, but it's still damn creepy, and while I could sit here and nitpick the character, I'm not going to, because if I ever saw this thing, even in the light of day, I would run faster than I ever have before, and that's on God, probably because I'd be meeting him soon. Or Oliver Queen, whichever one you want to consider God. In at 4, Soup Chirumiro Funtime Freddy. Searching stylized Funtime Freddy will give you a load of different art and design styles for Funtime Freddy. However, the creepiest one that I saw to me was one by a DeviantArt user known as Soup Chirumiro. This basically turned Funtime Freddy into a modified monster animatronic from Five Nights at Candy's. The height is right, the design of the head reminds me of the FNAF animatronics, and the fact that Bon Bon and the other one, who I only know as La Rata Rosa thanks to Eddie VR, are disconnected from Funtime Freddy entirely in their own animatronics with their own legs and no eyes because they're dead inside. And by that I mean like they don't have a soul or something, they're not possessed, not like they don't have something dead inside them. And I can't believe I had to specify that, but I mean hey, it's FNAF. At this point I gotta be thorough. I already called an animatronic by something that wasn't its actual name, so I'm already gonna be torn apart in the comments. Either way, this thing is damn creepy when stylized like this. If this was the design of the character instead of the more rotund cartoon-like thing it's got going on right now, I would have not tried to set him up as Bachelor number 1. No one else is gonna get that. I doubt anyone who watched that video still watches this channel. In at 3, Ignited Funtime Freddy. Ah yes, back to the meta numbers. A fan edit of a fan game. The Ignited animatronics come from the fan game The Joy of Creation, a game where you play as Scott Cawthon and his family after he retires from the FNAF series and the animatronics come after him. But these animatronics are more destroyed than their previous counterparts, basically having their withered versions be set on fire in a sense. So that in essence is what Ignited Funtime Freddy looks like as well. Take the withered versions from number 9 and then set them on fire and you have Ignited Funtime Freddy, with missing exosuit casing on his legs pretty much every time, and other exposed bits of endoskeleton depending on the artist. Scott would be glad that at least in the game universe he ended it before Sister Location was even a thought. Well, in Joy of Creation's game universe. Since even Bon Bon is after him this time. Whether it still be attached to him, withered like Withered Bonnie, or even on the ground moving on its own, Bon Bon's gonna go get him. At least he won't throw him at you though. Will he? And at 2, Nightmare Funtime Freddy. Well, what did you expect? Of course, a nightmare version of Funtime Freddy was going to be on this list. It's a classic and basically a requirement for any animatronic that doesn't already have a canon nightmare version present in the games. Nightmare Funtime Freddy is what you'd guess. In essence, a recolored Nightmare Fredbear, actually, instead of Nightmare Freddy, which I guess is understandable because they're more round. But the real gem comes from when they make the nightmare version look like the classic plastic / toy look that they got going on, like the original Funtime Freddy, because I don't know why, but for some reason the nightmare aesthetic just with the toy look from the Fun Times just makes it absolutely horrifying from both fronts. I never want toys again, but I'm also going to have nightmares about this version eating other nightmare animatronics. And then I think that it's doing it to save me like some glam rock Freddy situation, when rather he's just biding his time until I trust him so that he can snatch me without a fight. Oh no, please Nightmare Funtime Freddy, that's not where your teeth go. Finally, in at number 1, Twisted Funtime Funtime Freddy. While there are a plethora of twisted animatronics, both from the mind of Scott Cawthon and others, none are quite as terrifying as Twisted Funtime Freddy. Twisted Funtime Freddy combines the nightmare design of the previous number with basically everything else that I would find terrifying on an animatronic. I don't know why the teeth being like angled slightly outward makes the animatronic seem so much more terrifying, but nonetheless, it works. Even if it's not pointed outward, I think the mixture of the visuals plus the thought of them being able to move their face plates and then being underground like the twisted ones are just makes everything accumulate in my brain and just cause panic. Like sensory overload but with information. Like these are freaking nuts. I don't know what it is about it. It's in essence a nightmare animatronics, but it seems so much worse. Let me know why you think that is down below, because I genuinely have no idea. There we have it, friends, the top 10 scary FNAF alternate fan versions of Funtime Freddy. Which fan version was the scariest to you, and what character should we cover fan versions of next? Be sure to let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.